streets of Rome. Hundreds of apartment buildings, thousands of apartment buildings. Thousands and thousands of apartment buildings.
It's with the number 1. And then
this is our hotel.
2, there's a 3, and then there's a 4.
Quite a very big hotel.
So your room keys today are going to start with...
In Rome, the Centro Internazionale Roma.
A one-wheel at the front car.
Heading off to our Roman restaurant, looking at some
Then go for a coffee.
Some of the chaotic Roman traffic.
Which way are we looking at? I'm expecting
our first glimpse of St. Peter's.
To do something weird, and it's red. So I'm holding on, thinking that he's going to go through.
People up the top of St. Peter's looking at the view.
Afternoon, if you didn't feel like
it's a
coming back
huge
to the
place.
hotel with us.
The Vatican City. Now heading over the Tiber River. Picture of the Tiber River.
That's the Castel San Angelo, the Castle of St. Angelo. You see there's an angel on the top, but it was originally built in...
Bridge leading up to the Castel d'Angelo. This is the lower level of Rome. Rome is built on several levels,
green foliage,
and on the other side,
plenty of shade.
Justice Law Courts.
And in winter they lose all their
the Justice Law
greenery,
Courts, though.
which
Have
makes
another view of the other
sure
side
that the
of the road in a minute.
Here's a little one, can you see?
Yeah, you can just see the tops of
That's the Tiber River that struggled down in a little cradle.
It's got a bit of a glimpse there,
the beginning of Roman civilization in 753
down about
BC.
10 feet.
Down there is the former level of Rome.
It's something really interesting.
It's the famous Via Veneto Street, where a lot of the very rich hotels are and famous shops and stuff.
This is Aeroflot, which have no connection. Aeroflot's that Russian airline where you have to take your own packed lunch.
At the Mangrovia restaurant, where we had a wonderful experience. Here's Meryl sitting down, and this is looking around the room of the Mangrovia restaurant, where we had quite a very enjoyable experience. And this guy who's this waiter here is quite a card, as you will see. Meryl socking into wine. This is course number 1 of 6 courses. Here's beautiful flautist and guitarist, and they were our entertainment for the evening. Second course. Here's the third course. He's quite a card, this guy.
The fourth course. Take your hand away.
Course number 4.
Is the steak with the potato cooked somehow, and la salada is very nice with the wine, with the vino.
Past wines and future wines.
Here's the newly married couple are actually on their honeymoon on our trip. Jose. There's that song again. Course number 5. Course number 6. Very extravagant bathroom, all in marble. Beautiful. This is the boys. When I get back, this is what I see. We're on a little tour of Rome by night.
What day is it?
Thursday.
What year? Where's home? Do I work?
Heading now down towards the Trevi Fountain, and there it is. 3 coins in a fountain. Which one will the fountain bless? Look at that lovely couple down there. Throwing in a coin, you could throw in 1 for love, and 2 for marriage, and 3 for happiness, or whatever. Who's got my camera? How's this happening? We're about to throw in the coins.
Yeah, right. Throw now.
Here we go, got our money. In they go. In go the coins. There's Meryl. Her rose. Looking at the fountain.
First Street here at the Trevi Fountain. So many people. It's the most magnificent thing. I thought it was a little fountain. Whose rose have I got? Whose rose have I got?
It's a full-blown view of the Trevi Fountain with our coins in it.
Trevi Fountain.
Driving home from the Trevi Fountain with 3 coins in the fountain, playing on the bus speakers.
3 coins in the fountain.
These are the streets of Rome. On the way we come across a car that's, or a car stack, and a little bit of a fight here. Here they are, some guys all punching each other up on the footpath, and the car parked across the footpath. Getting into each other, smashing into each other. Yeah, off they go. Just Rome, typical Rome at night. Here's Venice Square,
that you will now understand.
called the Wedding Cake. This is where Mussolini used to talk to his people, and this is also where the tomb of the unknown soldier is. It's just one great big facade, actually. It's very
Alright, now don't take photos with your flash,
very pretty at night.
because it's a waste. Because
Changing of the
just
guard for the
changing
unknown
guards.
soldier there.
Just moving. It was never this quiet. You were so lucky to have so little people.
Lined up, ready for the Vatican City. We're the second group in.
This is their
Before
group.
anyone else starts to get in at 8:45. We're the third group. There are going to be thousands lined up eventually. The whole near the wall of the Vatican City.
Vatican City walls, and we're waiting to go in to see the Sistine Chapel. Walking up this huge spiral walkway or staircase to get up to the Vatican City. That's where we've just come up.
It's the staircase. Just came up.
Some views now of the gallery leading to the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City.
Yep.
These statues, a lot of these statues have come from various parts of Rome.
By the way, one important thing I want to tell you. we are going through this gallery straight into the Sistine Chapel. We are staying all together, but please, in case you get lost, just in case you get lost, don't try to be logical in this museum. Don't try to follow the sign saying exit. Otherwise you get to the entrance where we met and you don't find anybody there. In case you get lost, follow the sign saying Sistine Chapel. Mama, the universal mother, she was venerated all over the ancient Roman Empire. She has got a body which is like a trunk of a tree, the tree of the life.
Walking through the museum of the Vatican City. This is just one of the decorated roofs we're about to see many of in this incredible place. Incredible artworks, incredible roofs. Look at this roof in another one of the galleries. Absolutely unbelievable stuff.
And even the church is an incredible subject, but really you need to know very well.
These are the grounds of the Vatican City, looking out the window of that particular gallery we were just in there. Just looking over the fence. This is all Vatican City, completely other country.
40 meters long. Does everybody go with
This is the roof of the actual Sistine Chapel. And this shows all the panels of it, and we got a detailed explanation of what was going in each one of these different panels.
Now, as soon as they built the chapel was
So these are panels in the Sistine Chapel, in the roof of the Sistine Chapel, to give us an idea of what to look for as we go in and look at it.
Going parallel. So the first one up there is the circumcision of the son of Moses, the one to the right, the baptism of Christ. So you remember when we were talking, none of them has got the same position as the other. One has got one leg bended like this, another leg like that. They show.
The Sistine Chapel has recently been cleaned, and what we're about to see is the actual original colour, pretty close to what the original colour really was when it was first done.
They are so perfect, they look 3D, but they are painted. So Michelangelo in this way got 9 panels where he was creation of Adam. A God giving the life to Adam, not even touching his finger. You know, the 2 fingers are just very close to each other. Serpent with the blonde hair, head, woman, who painted all these clothes you see covering the body. Now they have
another artist.
They have checked behind those clothes if there was still the original by Michelangelo. Nothing. In those days, they scraped all the plaster away with the new painting on. They replaced the new plaster and painted the clothes.
So in Michelangelo's time,
Of the book, who commissioned it to cover up the book.
this is the guy who gave the commission to cover up the clothes, and Michelangelo's painted him as the devil. But another artist painted clothes over Michelangelo's painting, so Michelangelo painted him as the devil.
If you were in the Bartolomeo, in the face of the ski, there is the self-portrait of
Michelangelo
was feeling in that moment.
Built into the painting. Continuing now on into towards the Sistine Chapel, under some incredible roofs. Look at this roof too, in one of the antechambers leading to the Sistine Chapel.
Since 94, they are working on the side walls, so you will see half of that wall. But the ceiling and the last chapter is page. To take all the paintings away.
This is a practice run for when I get into the Sistine Chapel to do some illegal filming. I'm holding the camera down in front of me to see if I can get the ceiling. If it works like that, it'll be okay. Here are some incredibly fine mosaics. Look really close. These are all actual mosaics. Tiny bits of glass put together, look at that, to make these little brooch-sized pictures. Brilliant. stuff. We're looking over there towards the actual Sistine Chapel. It's behind that wall. It's actually that building over there.
Actually, the Sistine had two.
Further now into towards the Sistine Chapel, past some other incredible ceilings. Incredibly ornate stuff. And here we go. Cappella Sistina, that's where we're headed. And here we are in the Sistine Chapel. This is the camera holding up illegally recording some of Michelangelo's great work, the roof of the Sistine Chapel. There it is.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the
There's my head. There's a close-up of my beard. Sorry about that. Get out of the way, Jeff. Let's see more of the Sistine Chapel. The trouble is I didn't know what I was actually recording here. Worked a bit. But anyway, there you go, folks. There's the Sistine Chapel, complete with beard.
There, by the door. And then they let the pipe go through the second window, which is saying it's going up. They use wet, soggy hay, straw, to make black.
And there's an announcement telling everyone that they'll be in deep trouble if they do any recording and if they speak in the Sistine Chapel, which is meant to be completely quiet. So now we're leaving the Sistine Chapel on our way out. Statue of Constantine, and here's the door that's going to be broken by the Pope in the year 2000 and there'll be a brick wall behind this that the Pope will break, and everyone who goes through will have their sins forgiven.
The problem of the grace. The Catholic religion believes that once in the life, when you are still alive, you have the chance to change your life by going through this door. So the possibility of being forgiven here in this earth. And the ceremony is this. Every 25 years, Pope comes here. Behind this door, there is a wall made of brick and concrete. They break the wall, the Pope does break the wall, they take the wall away and they open this door. And all the pilgrims going through this door that year receive the plenary indulgence, all the sins forgiven.
This is St. Peter's Square, looking down from the St. Peter's Church at the buses where we're going to be meeting it. Now entering St. Peter's Basilica. And here we are inside the church, incredibly huge, the biggest church in the world. Those letters up there are over 2 metres high, and the little balcony up there is wide enough for a bus to drive around. The proportions of this church are really deceiving, but it's an incredibly huge thing.
If you get with your imagination a letter, put it on the balcony above the letters, you realize that the balcony is wide as the letter is, 2 meters, which means the bus you are traveling with can drive on that balcony up there. Michelangelo wanted this church.
Michelangelo was the architect of this place, took 120 years to build. It started in Michelangelo's time.
The church had to finish there, the facade had to be there, where that white church.
This is the inside of that wall that they're going to break down. This is the concrete bit. And here's Michelangelo's Pieta, his beautiful statue. Incredible detail in the body. This is the length of London's cathedral, to show that it's
The length of St. Paul's.
St. Paul, yeah, which is nowhere near as long.
Where Peter was buried.
This is the tomb of St. Peter. This big structure, and it's sort of. It has the two little. Everything was actually built around this. The church was built around this particular tomb, really. And the light at the back there is meant to be God's light coming in. And they've made that structure, that canopy, sort of as big as it is so that it doesn't obstruct the light.
It's decorating the main altar. It's nice to have a look at from here because you see behind the window which symbolizes the light of God. Can you notice all the other windows are bright, are transparent? That's the only color that is symbolizing God entering the church. So when Bernini was here,
this is a close-up of the supports of the canopy, all in bronze, like the shapes of trees. This is the dome, and it's actually, there's two layers of that dome. There's another dome, which is the outside one on top of that, and the stairs go in between the two different domes. That's the little canopy at the top. 17 metres high, just that little section.
What they did was build the church, build the roof of the church, and then from the roof build the dome from there. They look like...
This is the little chapel down underneath the balcony. Chapel come in for St. Peter.
Four pillars have Ponte Vecchio.
5 foot long quill.
It's 5 feet long, that quill. Gives you an idea of the incredible size of this place. Here's an incredible mosaic. All of the, in St. Peter's here, all of these things that look like paintings are actually mosaics. And thousands of tiny pieces of glass. Which means this is why people are able to photograph them. Actually, there was a wedding on in one of the little side chapels of St. Peter's while we were there. There's the wedding guests. There's the bride. And the mummy of Pius X. I mean, it's Pius X's body being mummified. Or embalmed, I suppose is the correct term. Here are the Swiss guards that guard the Vatican City in their typical clothes.
Swiss guards are still nowadays, the guards of the Vatican, still nowadays they come from Switzerland. It's an old tradition. The Swiss army, they elected, they gather here, and the smoke comes from there. Now,
that's where the smoke comes for the Pope.
Look at that great palace.
And this is the door, the window on the top there, second from the right, is where the Pope poked his head out once a week and waves to everybody. At Easter and Christmas, he stands up on that little balcony there on the front of St. Peter's and waves to everybody there. But usually he pokes his head out the window on Sundays. These colonnades on both sides sort of bend round and look like big arms stretching out from the church.
Look at that side. You can see there are 4 sets, 4 rows of columns, a wood of columns.
Looking back at St. Peter's with all its scaffolding and the 2 rows of columns on either side.
The flowers, etc.
Now we're travelling through Rome itself.
No, that's 2,700 years ago.
There's the Tiber River.
Was made not within a day. Was
the island in the middle of the Tiber River, which was really where Rome started.
Turning right on our left, we leave the synagogue dome. You can see the different
Colosseum. This is the first view of the Colosseum, minus all the statues that would have been in Michelangelo's buildings.
It was inaugurated in 1911.
Here's that big facade.
Just to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Italy Kingdom. So you see the king on top, Victor Emmanuel II. From there, Mussolini declared that the Second World War. And look, Mussolini wanted the street we are going to take now to be open.
The forums, the many forums in Rome, where people used to gather and talk and discuss things. This is, we're now entering some of the ruins of ancient Rome.
Was Julius Caesar who organized the forum as a public square.
This is Julius Caesar's forum.
The number of citizens increased, so this small forum was not enough. So they opened the other forums on the other side. Look at the statue of Julius Caesar here on your right. was like if they opened other channels of the same television. If you didn't like the show here, you could move it to the other side, just the same as now. You see there is earth here,
Here's
but now they're working and they are little by little
ruins
taking
that they're
all the
still
earth
working on
away.
today.
This street was wanted by Mussolini as
So
well as the
much stuff here.
sidewalks. And since the fall of
Look at
Mussolini,
all of those buildings, and you don't really know which
the
one,
Basilica was a sort of
which ones are which, really.
an indoor.
Colosseum.
The X, the L's, the V's. So spectators came here like they went to a stadium. They went through the number which belonged to their tickets, which correspond to their tickets. They just went through the right number, then they walked through a gallery and they got to their seats inside. Consider now the Colosseum was restored after an earthquake which took place a long time ago. Interesting, here the exterior wall is completely missing. So on your right you can see a gallery. And so imagine, once they went through the numbered arch, then they walked through that gallery and they went inside. They entered the inside and they could sit inside. You know, they have calculated in case of a danger, in 10 minutes they could evacuate the whole building. In 10 minutes everybody was out for a capacity of...
What is this?
So, with a capacity of really, I think 100,000, I think they could get it out in 10 minutes. It's incredible. That's where they used to be beautiful statues in there, and they just ripped them out, and that's the remains of the damage that was done when they took the statues out and put a lot of them actually in the Vatican Museum.
These shows had a good purpose at the beginning. Then they became the massacre.
Here's some Romans trying to make some money. You pay them to stand, get photographed with them. They're really enjoying that job too.
If you are in Jerusalem, you went to the Temple of Jerusalem, got the treasure from the Temple of Jerusalem, and with the money of the...
It's the old church, or what remains of it, the early Roman churches. Looking up this pavement here to some other ruins. Palatine Hill, yes. Some of the ruins up there. We've got a good view over another one of the Roman forums down there.
Forum. Down there. Yep. Down there actually, I think.
Somewhere, half a dozen forums anyway. Circus Maximus, where they had the big chariot races, lost all its statues and dirt now, but this is the actual spot where it was.
And to run around the circus 7 times. The first was the winner. It was not just a matter of being first, you know, they had to show a certain acrobacy, how good they were. You have to imagine this enormous brick building covered with marble slabs. Covered with the most fantastic marble slabs. Romans, they needed the water inside the palace. Look now, we
Saying
drive
goodbye
around
now
the
to the Colosseum.
In a moment, as we that's the marble slabs they didn't take away. Like just 5 of them or 6 of them. The area behind this building. So now
we're travelling through Rome.
They made when Rome
Looking
became
at some of the other main streets.
Rome became capital of Italy 1870.
This was the main
and
street.
in those days in the city,
Sophia Loren lived in that little house, that orangey sort of house up there, that's right.
okay.
One of her little penthouses.
And
With
then
some of
I
this
will point
traffic
out where
going
you can
everywhere.
Get your lunch, where you can go sit down and get your lunch. And then I'll give you the appointment at the
Go
Pantheon.
down towards the Pantheon, which is the Universal Church, I guess.
On the Minerva, and in front of it, there's a lovely monument which was made again by Bernini.
This is a Bernini monument.
Holding a novelist. Bernini was asked by Pope to make a monument to hold one of the Egyptian obelisks.
One of the Egyptian obelisks that were given to the Romans, and he made the statue to stick it on. Now the outer wall of the Pantheon. We've arrived. Here's inside the Pantheon. That circle up there is open to the weather, to the elements. It's not covered in. Incredible dome. I don't know how they did it, and apart from filling up this whole area with dirt, I think, to make this incredible dome way back in about the second year 2.
shade with the wooden beams of the dome, but
This church is a universal church for not only the Christian God, but the Roman, all sorts of Roman gods and different religions. It's meant to sort of
the dome,
do
which
the
was
lot.
made with the concrete of those days, the martyr. So that Hadrian rebuilt it 2nd century AD, but he kept the original beam.
It was rebuilt actually the 2nd century, not the
So the
second year.
building is 2nd century AD, but the inscription goes back to the first BC.
I see. Okay.
These are all the little chapel or little altars to the different gods and different, I suppose, figureheads from different religions.
So, now what was that date?
The 2nd century AD it was built. Sarcophagus of Raphael.
Yes, Raphael, I think. You heard that?
Yeah, in the
This is his remains. That's the outside of the Pantheon from the front.
Another one of those Egyptian obelisks.
That's right, Jeff, another Egyptian obelisk.
Some new though.
There's Meryl wondering what to do. Just took a photograph. Just taking her camera back in her bag. Did I get the right angle, she thinks? No, I wonder. No, maybe not.
No, the square.
This is the square in front of the Pantheon. This is one of the big squares that you sort of just come around a corner and you find this huge open space in the middle of Rome, filled with fountains and statues.
Where they went to get the water from in the ancient Roman days. This habit of having a fountain in a square has been carried ahead through the centuries, and the fountains.
Another Egyptian obelisk there.
A social meeting point. You know, people in summer, when it's a nice weather, getting the fresh from the water, having a chat. And they are not necessarily tourists. They are local people who meet in the fountain. You know, we don't have so many cafeterias. And as I told you,
This is one of the early palaces.
The other palaces around.
Written-
And that's how
built
this
by the-
square changed its look. Now,
One of the palaces.
Moorish fountain.
This fountain.
Bernini made this one. The one at the other end was designed by him.
Bernini. This particular
The Bernini fountain.
Bernini is quite a famous architect as well. And he made that fountain.
Palace. Private chapel
look out, because
of the palace.
by Borromini are
There.
never flat. They are always covered and covered. They look like
Each of these guys represents one of the 4 countries. That's
Now, if you look at the position
America, I think.
of the real
4 continents here, and that's Africa.
Covered head because they didn't know where the Nile was coming from. There's the Italian.
Now look at that bike, just went straight through the red light. It's incredible. You watch him up, we'll go up to the next red light and you see the same thing.
True.
So the bike, he just goes straight through the red light, off he goes. Who gives a stuff about red lights in Rome?
They just go straight through there.
Let us all head off. There's a truck just parked there. That guy's gone in for a drink. He just put his car there. Look at all these other cars just parked in the middle of the road. Here's this guy. He's got his both blinkers going. No one knows whether he's going right or left. He just heads into the traffic. All these. Look at the double parked cars. The different angles they're parked. Parked all over. Look, there's one parked on the street, halfway up the street. Another one parked there. There's another guy going in for a drink. It's incredible. Rome. No one in the right mind would. Here's a car going to come right out in the middle. Just when he saw the bus, he decided not to. Don't drive in Rome. There's a stack up there. Here, this is.
This guy's just going to force his way in.
Yeah. And there's one little stack, one of the many stacks. Someone smashed, this truck smashed into the door of the car there.
He just stopped selling ice cream in the middle of the road.
Looks like, I don't know what's the Urgif Palace Hotel, which is our hotel. This is coming into the yard, and there it is in front of us. Huge palace. This is one of the many wings, and that's where we live.
In Rome, and just a brief Here's our washing on the little seat, phone and so on. This is the idea of two single beds sort of squashed together to make one double. Little television. Are they? Mirror. We do get a little balcony out here. I'm going to show you out on the balcony before we get too dark. Open right here on the balcony. And there's our view. Looking down on the car park. And the buses coming in. And that's the main gate. I just walked up there to a Chinese restaurant till we're up today.
We've just been out for a Chinese meal with another couple from Geelong.
Yeah. Hooks. And here is the toilet.
And the bidet.
Complete with bidet. Bath this time with some water in, ready for a bath. And ordinary shower this time. Well, that's good.
This is a 10-minute long traffic jam on the way out of Rome, heading towards Florence. It's a truck jam. It's been solid traffic for 10 minutes now, starting to clear out of it.
About 7 or 8 miles long.
One of the beautiful little villages up on hills.
What's this city, Mary? This place called? Ponte, right. Thank you.
Incredible scene on our way from Rome to Florence.
Spain might be like that.
More of the scenery on the way. There's the River Arno, whatever that is.
They'll be there forever. They're never going to catch anything.
So here we are in Florence.
Look at this view.
Beautiful panorama.
This is looking over Florence.
Arno.
Ah, Arno, that's the river that goes through Florence. And now, look at that. This is just
This
a
is a lovely
beautiful...
panorama. It is recording. I know it's recording, Meryl. Not like Heidelberg. This is actually recording.
We're not taking the feed. Yeah.
This is not like Heidelberg, it's actually still so disappointing. We've got 25 minutes.
What's that bridge down there?
Ponte Vecchio, Jeff.
Ponte Vecchio.
Ponte Vecchio.
Wow,
Ponte Vecchio. Oh.
quite something. Like all those bridges are quite something.
Florence.
Florence, yes. Thousand statues a day.
Swinging around now, this is where we had our group photograph taken in this little spot. This is all most of our, some of our group in these places they sell. There's a little castle up there in the hill. And here's all the little, as they always have, stalls.
There's a copy of the statue of David.
That's the copy. We're going to see the real thing soon.
Michelangelo's David copy. All greened up because of the weather. Hopefully we'll be seeing the real thing later today.
We're now in Florence for a leather demonstration in one of the shops. This is how they put gold embossing on the leather.
This film here is a shining part plastic, and this part is gold at 24 carats. So we put this abroad to get right temperature, about 60 degrees. Very important to find right temperature. So with right temperature, the gold melt inside the leather and never come off forever. You see? Never come off.
Which is? Florence Church.
This is the
Thank you. Okay.
St. Croce Church, we think.
It's the Italian Pantheon, where distinguished people are buried. This is Michelangelo's tomb. The remains of Michelangelo.
Here's where the big boy is. Michelangelo's tomb.
I can stay closer. We can't scream.
This is the covering, and underneath there is a crypt. And each panel is directly above the coffin where the stiff is.
You can see the sarcophagus.
3 women there represent painting, sculpture and architecture.
And you see the
And there's a picture of Michelangelo himself.
Did you see the Pietà in Rome at the Vatican by Michelangelo? Michelangelo made 4 Pietas. The Vatican Pietà is statesman.
Here's Machiavelli's
He
tomb.
wrote a very important political treatise called The Prince. In that treatise, in that book, you can find the famous sentence, "The end justifies the means." That's the Machiavelli sentence.
There
You see the profile of
lies Machiavelli.
National disaster.
This is where the flood came just recently. That's how high up
And
the
this is
water
still
came
the line.
and wrecked so much of Florence. You can see where the different, that's
Back to the time
incredible
of the
thing.
construction of the
That
church.
flood was quite disastrous.
1296.
Looking inside the
These are
Florentine church
affreschi
of
that go
St.
back
Croce,
to medieval times, to the 13th century.
all fresco paintings painted on wet plaster.
Rossini was a contemporary composer with Giuseppe Verdi.
And there's Rossini's
Verdi was a great opera man, as you certainly know.
tomb,
Rossini was a great innovator
who wrote William Tell Overture.
Italian opera. He composed 34 operas.
Close up of Rossini, and there's the ceiling of this church.
It was.
Wooden ceiling.
It's been restored. Banking, the sarcophagus. Those are geometry on the right hand side, and the other one is astronomy. You see the statue of astronomy holding the circular figure. That's a symbol of the sunspots, a phenomenon discovered by Galileo. You see below the back.
These represent all the things that he was interested in, astronomy and mathematics and so on. And here's Leonardo da Vinci's tomb, is it? Or monument to Leonardo da Vinci anyway.
The statue of David.
We're off, yes, to see the statue of David. Down this little alleyway to the special church. Not a church, we're heading off to the Academy of Fine Arts. Just down this way, here it is. We're right in front of it now. We're about to go in and see the big boy himself.
This is the Academy of Fine Arts.
But not, we're not quite there yet. This is another church. Look at the outside of this church. This is just mind-boggling. Looks like Florentine stationery. Look at the outside of this. This is another church in Florence. The Basilica of Our Lady.
The first one is the St. Peter's.
Merrill remembered that. I didn't.
This contains 10,000 people, and it's a functioning church still today. It's dedicated to the Virgin Mary, as I told you. The flower, the Virgin of the flower is a symbol of Florence. It's the couple that Michelangelo used to work with.
In 1295, it's the main cathedral. There's people up there, the main cathedral of Florence.
And if you go up, you can...
Europe after St. Paul's.
Second longest church in Europe after St. Paul's. This is inside. Look at that decoration.
Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo. You can see the same subject depicted.
Little dome up the top there.
If you look at the central panel, you can see the figure of Jesus Christ on his throne doing a blessing.
Looks a bit like the Sistine Chapel, doesn't it?
And he's judging all of creation, all of humanity. You see different animals, originals as well. This is a Gothic church. It doesn't have a
Here's the boy in the Academy of Fine Arts. The statue of David, the actual thing. Beautiful.
Statue of David Museo
Academy.
This is one of the studies, the unfinished paintings of Michelangelo. We had to have a look at a few of these before we got up for a closer view of David. These are a lot of his studies. Or we're not actually sure whether he did these or not. This is the Pieta by Michelangelo. One of the Pietas.
Do you remember the Pieta?
There's one in the Sistine Chapel. This is a different version.
So this is the second Pieta, which is in Florence, and the third one is in the Museum of the Cathedral. We have two Pietas.
This is the one that's in. She's showing us a picture of the one in Milan.
Do you know what?
Here's a close-up of David. Look at the detail on the body. His hands are much bigger than in real life.
Look at the statue. He's holding a slingshot in his left hand. Can you see it? You
See the
just
crack
part of
there?
it.
That was from
You're
damage.
going to see the slingshot from the back.
Once where it was actually broken off
You
by
know the story
bandits.
of David and Goliath? Yes. The king of the Jews, he fought against the giant Goliath, the Philistine. I'm sorry, sir. You fed the statue into this
See the
museum.
size of his hand. They wanted
They
that
built
big
this
so that from a
expanded
distance
section of the Academy of Fine
you could
Arts.
still see the hand detail.
Those are due to damage caused by the Florentines. They were protesting against the palace of the government. The statue was in front of it. They threw some stones and they broke the left arm of the statue. It was restored suddenly. Many years later, the last century, they transferred the statue into the museum. And they made a clock.
This is the back
He's got
of
something
David.
in his right hand, but that's not the stone. He has already thrown it. So, it's a
This is a statue room where they have a lot of busts and statues, hundreds of the things. Here's some racing cars coming through Florence. Incredibly ornate door of some other little museum of some sort.
The fourth one, you can recognise that one. It's Moses.
1424 to 1452 these doors were built to this little museum. There's one of the little markets in Florence, that was. Here another little market looking around square. Some other old Florentine buildings. There's another one of the racing cars we saw going through. Around the central square in Florence.
That's a straw market. Okay. If you want to see the old bridge, the medieval, which is fantastic, go this way, straight on. You will see the river in 2 minutes, and you will see the bridge.
To the right?
Huh?
To the right?
Yes. Just to take this, just before.
Not only about 3/4 size or half size. Now down towards the Ponte Vecchio through this little square, and there it is. The medieval bridge. We're heading up towards it.
Ponte Vecchio.
Ponte Vecchio. Middle Ages bridge, is it?
Yes, bridge from the Middle Ages, one of the very originals.
Ponte Vecchio.
Yes, we're on the Ponte Vecchio bridge. That's where we just came, down there. Looking at one of the little streets up the other way.
From the Ponte Vecchio.
And there was an old rally of racing cars coming through, which we'll see in a little while. There's the police about to pick up. Here they come. These old vintage racing cars heading through Florence. Quite a contrast. Quite a mixture, the old and the new, or the loves of Italy, the culture of Italy and their love of automobiles and racing cars and Ferraris and stuff. So here they all come. Fascinating old stuff.
Down here, 1 minute, the world's best ice cream shop.
World's best ice cream shop we were looking for. Couldn't find them somewhere around here.
You can't see it.
Down here. We're lost somewhere in Florence. Looking for ice cream. There it is. We've got it.
We go inside to taste it.
Vivoli ice cream. There it is.
Oh, I don't know what sauce.
No, I do not know what sauce.
Where are all those ice creams? We pay our money. What's it like?
Meryl, what did you get?
Gelati, crema, cioccolato, scaffiato.
I got a fantasy and crema, and so far, they live up to their name. Oh, yeah. We've just passed by that last house on the left. Is the house of Michelangelo. That's where he lived when he was a kid and did most of his work here. There's Mel having a cup of tea in the afternoon in front of the church in Florence. All the scaffolding up. It's where they have concerts in that square for artists like Billy Joel. He performed on the church. I'll show you in a minute. At the moment, a cup of tea in the afternoon in Florence.
Is the square where they have pop concerts?
Joel played a concert at the stage they had in there in front of the church. It's the church that houses the bodies of Michelangelo and
Bid farewell to Firenze, Florence, with the bells tolling for us, saying we've got to get back to the bus and head on our way.
the bell tolls for us. Time to pack up shop.
Right.
Heading back to the bus via this little sort of waterfallish type thing and driving out of Florence now.
First of all, we had bathroom number 1, which is the bathroom in here. Let's try and the bidet. And there's the mirror, and you can see it down there, and even a hairdryer in this one. We have actually a little hall here in our room, sort of this little here. Then we have one little bedroom in here for a single bed.
Misbehaves.
Mirror, and we have television on with the Italian television. A little writing desk here, and wooden parquetry floor, place for cases. Yes, there's the writing desk. And out here we have...
In Montecatini.
Open my balcony window, my terrace window.
Look down there. And we have...
Little Italians around.
It's a beautiful little town, this.
There's the city square up there.
We thought it was a quiet little place until the night when it all happened.
And we have double bedroom with huge double bed, 2 single beds put together. Same view out the window. Quite a classy little lamp over there in the corner. A couple of antique chairs, antique table. Weird looking antique mirror. Bed lamps, painting. Quite a big wardrobe there. There we go, there's the wardrobe. And we have bathroom number 2. Complete with bidet and stuff. There it is. Complete with bath.
Waterworld on the telly in Italian.
Temi sopra. Waterworld. Prima TV canale 5. Lunedì alle 21.
Oh, the Simpsons.
It's a Simpson in Italian.
Ti spaventeresti anche tu, no?
Si può uscire allo scoperto adesso, signor Gay? Farò qualunque cosa mi chieda, qualunque. Accidenti, po', salvati da una femminuccia. Questa vergogna ci perseguiterà a vita. Ah, ci sono con quella malsana idea del suicidio.
Noi gli siamo debitori e non voglio che lo chiamiate femminuccia. Quest'uomo è un...
Go for it, Homer.
È un... No, aspetta, ambiguo, diversamente ambiguo.
Beh, o così o John.
Sai, Beth, forse è la mia commozione cerebrale che parla. Ma qualunque sia il modo in cui tu decida di vivere la tua vita, per me va più che bene.
Crede che tu sia gay. Crede che io sia gay.
Se la terra mi chiama non posso.
Is some pop music Italian style. There's Merrill in there as well, look at that. The image of Merrill superimposed over these guys. This is Lynn and Sue's bathroom. They've got a little shower in the middle of the floor.
They do have a much better bed here.
Shut the door.
Very nice bed though.
They've got a nice big bed head. Look at this.
Lounge area on the first floor.
Oh, this is in the actual hotel itself.
Yeah.
This is a little dining area.
Breakfast area for the first floor.
Here's where we had breakfast. We're about to go for a little tour of Montecatini, which is a little place about, I suppose, 20, 30 kilometres from Florence.
Lounge area. Down the stairs, off around the stairs.
Down we go.
Down the marble staircase. It's 11 o'clock at night. And there are hundreds of people. And we place Montecatini about 40 miles from Rome, in the middle of nowhere. Hundreds of people out raging on a Saturday night. Here's the front of our hotel.
40 miles from Florence, really, not Rome.
Just in case I don't get a chance tomorrow.
That's how we down here with the windows open.
Yes, I'll go. Here's our room. Yeah, that's our room. The one street where cars are able to go.
This is the action in Montecatini. It's only a little village, but there's just everything happening. Most streets you can't walk.
It's one of those three little cars in Mr. Bean. Here's the square. Hundreds of people, mostly Italians, raging around here. All action here on a Saturday night. Montecatini, there's more people here than in Rome. There's a lot of young people here, mostly young.
We're now in this little art gallery that's open at 11:30 at night, and they're all copies of famous paintings. This is a copy of Klimt.
Right.
This is a copy of Van Gogh. Kind of little art gallery. We just went in there. In raging Montecatini. Look at that. We're now on our way the next day. We're now on our way to Pisa. There's a plane coming in.
Yes, we are retired.
And
Well, Sex is a very embarrassing name.
One
day I took Sex for a walk.
That's a
and
big
ran away
aqueduct.
and that steadied it somewhat.
Here we are now entering Pisa, about to see and saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa in the distance there for the first time. It was quite boggling coming and seeing that view. I just had to stop and take some of these shots. And there it is, mind-boggling Leaning Tower. It was quite something special. So big and just so starkly, so obviously on an angle.
$262 steps there.
Can't go up there anymore.
You can't go up anymore, no. It's the Italian flag up on the top.
Italian flag on top.
It's quite amazing.
Here's Jeff holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Can you do it? Can you do it?
Weights to try and stop it from leaning any further. They're putting all these weights on the left-hand side of it to stop its lean.
Looks like they're pushing it over. They've got it on the other side.
It's the house. There's a direct line. When the tower falls, that house will go. That tower was built in the 1100s. It started to fall in a heap, and they continued in the 1300s, but it was built on marshland. This is the angle as you'd see it coming towards you. those buildings. This is the Field of Miracles where all these things are. The tower is number 1 there. Number 2 is the cathedral, which we're, and there's the cathedral.
Alright. Back. 3 on the map is over there. Monumental cemetery. Right. 4.
4 is the baptistry.
The baptistry. There it is. That's the baptistry. All of this is on the Field of Miracles, which is where it's being done up to. It's all the scaffolding. So many of the buildings in Europe are covered in scaffolding. Lucky to see them. Yes, folks, we are in Pisa. There's a Sabre jet as we're about to leave. Sabre jet, everyone Sabre jet. Where they get the marble from, the Ferrara marble, a very expensive marble that's used in so many Roman buildings. Transported, was got from these mountains and transported by bullock to Rome. Bullock dray, really marble city here. This is where they make so many of the monuments. There's bits of marble that have been cut off the monuments, I think. Stood around a hill. Another one. The Mediterranean Sea in the background. We're starting to come into the Riviera area of Italy.